Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trickster Month here at Rockeyez. Today we have with us half of the powerful rhythm section of Jersey's own Trixter, bassist PJ Farley. I think we've done a feature on just about every other member of the band at one time or another, but this is your first time with us here on Rockeyez.
All
It's
right, we're
great to
breaking the ice.
it's great to finally have you aboard.
I appreciate it.
Well, congratulations on the new release, New Audio Machine. This one's certainly been a long time coming. What was it like working together after such a long time?
It was much like our first show back. It was just all kind of snapped back into place, you know? It was like, I equate it to, just the old chemistry just comes right back in, and things just fall into place, and it's great. It's just like dusting off the old glove.
Now, you guys got together again originally right around 2008 to do some reunion shows. How did
Right.
that all come about, and how long afterwards did you decide to start working on new material?
Um, it came about. It was Steve planted the seed in everybody's head to think about, maybe doing some shows and, being a part of the summer festival thing that is so popular. And being a Trixter's been dormant for so long, he was very motivated to put back together and get back out there. And we got some offers for like our first one, Rocklahoma, and like Rock Fest, and all the fests. And so they all started coming in, and it just, it was great. I mean, we always all remained friends. So there was no crap to deal with on that front. It was just a matter of doing it. So we did, and then before you know it, it just kind of took off on its own.
Mm-hmm. Now, who does most of the writing for the band now, and how much input does each member have?
Steve is the primary songwriter, but anybody has whatever input. If anyone's got an idea, suggestion, it's definitely more than welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Steve is just a very prolific writer, and he writes all the time, and so that's where the majority of it comes from.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I really like about the new CD is I feel it finally captures the essence of what this band is all about. Now, I've been a fan of you guys since before you ever got signed, and I've always felt that while I do like the first CD, it was kind of a misrepresentation of the band. Here was a bit better, but still, I don't think it ever really captured the edginess of the band, especially live. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think this record definitely has all of the elements that the band can showcase. I mean, we kind of covered it all, and I think that was it. Was I guess it's always a mission to try to do that. Sometimes it's a lot harder to do, but it came very easy. And when you listen to the record beginning to end, it's like, wow, yeah, that's what Trixter is right now, and very convincingly and organically.
Well, as I said, I always thought that the band was a lot heavier, especially live.
Yeah.
And you kind of didn't really come off that way. And I understand where the record label was kind of going with that at the time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But did you find that once you were stereotyped into that quote-unquote kind of boy band image, it was hard to crawl out from under that rock? And how much do you feel it attributed to the eventual demise of the band?
I don't think it really contributed to the demise of the band. I mean, I think it was going to be, the end was somewhere in sight once Nirvana came in. So
yeah, for everybody.
It pretty much cleaned the slate. Nobody was left. So I don't think that really affected us. But we were definitely always a heavier, edgier band live. I guess our image was a little bit more boy bandish just because we were young and cute, and but we were just a bunch of punks, really. We can
Well,
break it down.
well, getting back to the new CD, do you have a favorite track, or is there any song in particular that you're exceptionally pleased with the way it turned out?
Well, yes and no. I mean, obviously, the whole thing itself is, every time I listen to every song, I go, yeah, I like this about this, and that about that. But I think a song like "Drag Me Down," it starts off the record, has a really good, fun element that just reeks of Trixter. A song like "Machine," which is just a kind of a kick-ass rocker, and or along the lines of, say, Rockin' Horse or something like that, off of Here. And then there's a song, God, I don't even know. I'm just going to wind up naming them all.
Now, on the flip side, is there any track that you feel you could have put a little more into or didn't turn out exactly the way you planned it?
Not really. I think we did the best that we could on every track. There was one or two songs that we did that we felt that way, and they didn't make the record. So anything we weren't happy with, we left off.
Mm-hmm. Are there any plans for a tour in support of the release, and what have you got lined up so far?
Yes, we have some dates coming in now. We're going to be doing kind of a 21st anniversary of the Warren Trixter Firehouse Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour. This time it's going to be called the Cherry Pie Tour, and that'll take up a bunch of this summer shows for us, along with some headlining shows. As far as a lengthy tour, nothing's on the table as of yet, but that could change. It's early yet.
Mm. Now, speaking of live shows, tell me what you remember about the infamous Turlock, California gig.
The infamous Turlock, California gig? Not much. I was really wasted. I think there was some nudity. Probably on Gus's part. Maybe some guitar techs and maybe some females, I think. I think it was kind of a debauchery going on. Yeah, Turlock was fun.
Now, due to the misconceptions about the band, was there ever a crowd or crowds you felt particularly good about being able to win over?
We were pretty strong-minded and fearless. I mean, when we first came out, we almost got the AC/DC tour, and I mean, we were just about there. We were so psyched, and people were like, "Are you guys crazy? Are you out of your mind? You're going to go open up for AC/DC?" We're like, "Fuck yeah, we are." And we didn't get the tour. Maybe it was a good thing, but no, we were ready. We were ready to play in front of anybody. Nobody was going to tell us that we couldn't, win a crowd over. Mm. And actually, on the Scorpions tour, which was one of our first tours, they had kind of a similar crowd where they were definitely there for them because we weren't, at our peak yet. So we definitely had to win over a crowd night after night, and that was pretty. It was satisfying because you get out there and you're playing arenas, and they're all sitting down at first, kind of taking it all in, and then by the end of the show, you got them standing on their feet. So it actually, you're up there for a half hour, 45 minutes, but you feel like you got the job done. But yeah, we were ready to play with anybody.
Now, you and Steve stayed together for a long time after the demise of Trixter, playing in bands together like Sugar Belly, Throwing Rocks, and 40-Foot Ringo. Tell me a little bit about those bands.
Yeah, I think once we kind of put Trixter away for a little bit, me and Steve continued writing and recording. We just formed a new band called Throwing Rocks, and we just kept working, and we were, it's what we do. So like, all right, let's start another band. Nobody, Trixter was not going to be able to work at that time anymore. Nobody, the name was branded, and that was it. So we're like, all right, well, we have to play music still. So we put together that band, Throwing Rocks, which was maybe some of our best work. And that turned into 40 Foot Ringo, which we made a record for called Funny Thing, which also a lot of people really like. It's pretty cool. And even today, people are like, dude, I love that 40 Foot Ringo record.
It is. It's a great CD.
It's that's cool. I appreciate that. And Sugar Belly was just a local cover band, just keeping us busy, having some income while we're, writing and recording and, trying to keep the dream alive, so to speak.
Now, what was your relationship like with Mark and Pete during that time?
It was fine. It was just with Gus, it was just kind of non-existent, just because he kind of just ducked out. Once he quit the band, he moved out of the area, and we just really, he started a family, and just didn't hear from him for a bunch of years. And then slowly but surely came out of the woodwork, and it was, it was never any hard feelings. We just didn't see each other or hear from each other. And Pete, same thing. He just moved out to Arizona, but we always kept in touch.
Now,
and I would see him a lot when I would be on tour with my other band, Ra, throughout Arizona. He'd always come out and stuff, so I saw him.
Now, while you, Steve, and Pete, for the most part, continued to do music over the years, as you mentioned, Mark pretty much retired from the industry altogether. Who eventually got him to come out and want to play again?
Steve, probably. I would say. I don't know if he was starting to play before we did the Trixter thing, but if he wasn't much. But he was definitely getting. Actually, I should say it was just himself. I think he really just wanted to get back into it. It's that old familiar story where someone says, "I'm hanging it up," and then 14 years later, you're like, "I'm picking it up." You can't turn your back on it. It'll show up on your doorstep.
Now, you eventually landed up in bands like Deep Field and Raw, which were a far stretch from the material you had done with Trixter.
Mm-hmm.
Was it difficult for you to adapt to that style, and which do you feel more comfortable with?
No, not difficult at all. I mean, that's I'm kind of rooted in, a kind of heavier, more aggressive style of music. I mean, I play all kinds of music. I love all kinds. I don't, I mean, growing up on bands like Kiss and Motley Crue and stuff, but I also grew up listening to, Iron Maiden, Priest, and Sabbath, and Metallica, and so I celebrate it all, and I can, play and perform it with complete conviction, because as long as I'm passionate about it and I enjoy the music.
Mm-hmm. Now, you even toured with Lita Ford just recently. How did you land that gig, and what was that like touring with her?
Somebody that was booking her, a guy by the name of Danny Stanton, mutual friend of ours, started booking her when her comeback shows, and I got a call one day. Said, "Lita needs a bass player, kind of in Jersey, local," because at the time Bumblefoot was a guitar player, and his drummer in Bumblefoot was the drummer, and it was kind of like she just, fired the whole band and putting a new band together, and we got shows Friday, and this was on a Monday or a Tuesday. And so I'm like, all right. So I had learned 15 songs in a couple of hours, then flew down to her house. We sort of rehearsed for a day or so, if you call it that. And then we were off toward Europe, did all the major festivals in Europe and stuff like that, and some in the U.S. that summer. That was in '09. And then, it was great. It was a great run with her. Definitely got to, I went to Europe for the first time ever with her, and in grand fashion, I should say. It was really cool to have that kind of experience on that level for the first time. It's kind of ruined me, actually, because now if I go to Europe, it's got to be, going to be playing Bang Your Head Festival in Germany, and, Gods of Metal in Milan. Otherwise, it's going to be coach. It's not going to be first class. But yeah, no, it was a good run.
Oh, you were always portrayed as the pretty boy and even had the reputation of being, well, the band slut. How true were all the rumors?
Completely. Guilty as charged.
You've got your CD release party coming up on May 10th at the Bergen Performing Arts Center right here in Jersey with Dokken and your old friends in Warrant. Now, you guys, meaning you and Warrant, have always been tight over the years. How surprised were you to hear of Jenny Lane's death, and how did it affect you?
It was, shocking in the sense that, you never think, somewhere in the back of your head, there's something going on there that scenario is potential, but you never wanted to actually surface. So when I heard about it, it was definitely a tough one to take. It's a shame. It's a total, complete shame. He was a great guy, an amazing talent. I know people love him, but I still think he was underrated as a songwriter, singer, and frontman. Just tops in every category.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. I remember just being was at their second show ever in New York where they opened for Brittany Fox. And I just remember there was only like 30 people there at the time, and it sounded like an arena.
Right.
The way he got people going and stuff like that. And I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times, and he was always, really, really great guy.
Yeah.
Especially to the fans, especially to his fans, too. So
yeah, I think people just connected with him. I think he was very, on stage, he didn't have I don't know. He just seemed like your buddy up there, just having a party, throwing a party. That was cool.
Yeah. So what's next for Trixter and yourself?
Trixter, well, we're going to release this record and play some shows, rock and roll as much as we can, and just see what happens. You never know what the future holds. So hopefully we can, get this train up and rolling and get to play a lot of places that we haven't played in a long time. A lot of these festivals all happen kind of in the same spots every year, and it'd be nice to get out and play all these places that we haven't played in many years. Hit all the nooks and crannies.
Now, do you have a favorite place or venue that you like to play?
Not really. As long as it's buzzing, as long as the room's buzzing, I like it.
Well, that's about it. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this. And in conclusion, is there anything else you'd like to say that I left out, or a message you'd like to give to your fans?
I just appreciate all the support that everyone's given us, and all the interest people are showing. It's refreshing, and it's comforting to know that people are curious to know what we're doing and excited to hear. And we've been getting some really, really good feedback on this single, Tattoos of Misery, and that's couldn't ask for anything more. And we're used to shitty reviews when our music comes out. So this is a change for us.
How's the label been treating you so far?
So far, so good. Hopefully that continues. I think that, they've made quite a name for themselves over the last, I'd say, 2 years, especially with the U.S. distribution and everything. And I think, this is the label to be on for a band in our genre. There's no question. So we're excited about it. I know they are. And we just feel like they were very genuinely interested. It wasn't just kind of like we weren't knocking down their doors going, please give us a deal, please put this record out. They were very much interested in this record.
Well, great. Well, again, thanks a lot, and best of luck with the new CD, and thanks for joining us here on Rockeyez.
Thank you very much, Dave.